right, you guys are live and good to go.
Okay. I'd like to call the December 15th Historic Site Committee meeting to order. The first thing on the agenda is a roll call of members. I, Michelle LaBelle, will be presiding as chair tonight. Kitty Englert?
Here.
Doe Winslow? Not here.
She's excused.
Excused. Thank you. Joe Galey?
Here.
Anita Hawkins? Is Anita
Anita-
zooming in?
Oh, hang on. She came in a different way. Let me promote her to panelists. Sorry about that, Anita. I see you.
Okay. Are we good?
This is Anita. I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Anita. Lisa Bolzner,
Here.
Tina Thompson,
Here.
Raymond Dale.
Here.
I think we have it all right.
Me.
Oh, Gary did.
Here. She always forgets me.
And excuse me, Michelle, we have one guest.
I'm sorry.
Michael?
Hi, it's Michael Trojan from Konar Properties.
Okay,
Hey, Beck, we can't really hear that very well.
Did you not hear me very well?
That's better. Now I can.
I think I may have just gone quickly. Sorry.
Gary, do we need to ask the guest in the back to introduce himself?
No, you don't need to. I mean, we can after if you'd like, you can.
Did you want to introduce yourself? No? Okay, all right. Okay, so we'd like to have approval of the September 15th minutes. So the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. There's a copy floating around. I think everybody has it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You're all sent those and published and circulated to the town website. I had no request to change any of our members or from any interesting parties, so I can get a motion to approve the minutes.
I motion we approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. Joe motioned, Gary seconded, so I'm going to call the roll call. So
Okay.
Kitty,
Here.
Joe,
Here.
Anita,
Here.
and Raymond.
Here.
Gary Goodrich.
Aye.
So that motion carried. So
They're saying.
we had some correspondence between myself and Bill Santos, who has his address is up on East River Road. And he's looking to possibly do some work at his home, and he's at 3181 East River Road. He just wanted some guidance and some information as to what we're looking for, what he needs to expect if he goes forward with the work on his house. He's not put forth anything in writing that I am aware of, but I just wanted to put it out there as to the correspondence that we had. Let's see. Status of the Good Shepherd Church.
Wait a minute. Tina had correspondence.
Oh, are they not entered in here? Tina, what were your correspondence again?
Okay, I sent it out this afternoon. It was the project proposal for Acer Associates. It has to do with the two projects that the Historic Site Committee was looking at, probably, I would say midsummer. And one was to have the Landmark Society do the a historic property survey in the East Village. And a second possibility would be to have the Landmark Society or a similar organization help with establishing the West Henrietta District. And I'm asking if the committee wants to go forward with either one of those things, and then I can get an estimate of what that would cost.
Sure.
I think it'd be a good idea to get an estimate from the Landmark Society on the survey of the East Village. We already have a pretty good survey of the West Village. So get an idea of what that would cost.
Okay.
Anybody else have any ideas?
Basically, AT&T has been given the okay to put up a cell tower across Calkins Road from the Tinker Homestead. And the agreement was made with that they would put forth some funding for a historical project. Lisa would probably be able to better.
I honestly don't. The first I heard of it was reading
The thing that we all saw.
that we all saw
Yeah.
from Tina today.
So basically Supervisor Schultz is asking the different departments, including the fire department, and I don't have it in front of me, I can't remember the others, but for possible projects they'd like to see done, to put forth to AT&T for funding. The funding probably wouldn't come through until June of 2021. Is that correct, Tina?
That's correct. It might even come through later than that, and none of the projects can be started ahead of time. So this is for future planning. And just a correction, I'm the one who's asking for the projects. It's not the supervisor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it's.
That's okay. I included him in the memo because he's aware of the Good Shepherd Church property and the Berger Farmhouse property. And I asked him if there were projects there that might qualify for what AT&T is looking for. But just remember, SHPO has not signed off on this yet.
Right.
So Tina, I have a question about the carriage house to be relocated to the Tinker property. Is
Yes.
that something that you would like us to strongly consider?
That's something that has already been being handled by the town. The
Okay.
carriage house is on a property on Lehigh Station Road, and the owner has donated it to the town if it can be moved to the Tinker property. And so the town is in the process now of making arrangements for that carriage house to be moved. The Historic Site Committee doesn't need to be involved in that relocation.
Okay.
That brought us to number 2 on the old business, was the donation of the carriage house at 1710 Lehigh Station Road. Tina, any movement on the historic plaque for Andrew Short House?
No, and the owner of that property does not want a historic plaque. So I don't think that that's going to go forward.
So we probably could just take that off of old business then?
I think so, yes.
We actually have something coming off the list. Very good. New business, Eagle Scout project, survey of the Riverview Cemetery. Tina, were you spearheading this one too?
Yes, and Ryan McMaster is the Eagle Scout who is doing this project, and because Riverview Cemetery is a protected cemetery, I needed to have either consensus or a motion to approve that he does a survey of the Riverview Cemetery from the Historic Site Committee.
Okay.
Didn't we do that already?
It came out in an email.
It came in an email. We were going to do it earlier, but we didn't meet in October or November. So it officially hasn't been done.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve Ryan McMaster's doing a survey of the Riverview Cemetery, which is one of our protected properties. Can I get a second?
Second?
Second. Oh, you did already.
No, I was asking for a second. So Gary Goodridge asked for approval and Kitty seconded. Let's do roll. Kitty?
Here.
Aye.
Aye. We're voting, Kitty. You have to say aye.
Aye.
Joe Gailey?
Aye.
Anita?
Aye.
Raymond Dale?
Aye.
Gary Goodridge?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Let's see. Request from Mark Congdon to have 5537 and 5582 designated as a local historic site. I just want to make clear, he's not technically requesting it. He's asking us for information on the parameters of it. He has to make business decisions, whether this is something that is in the best interest of his business and for his buildings. So he's requesting information, and he will be moving further down the road once he has, he's going to speak to the supervisor and to a couple of other people, and then we can see if at all we can move it forward.
Okay.
Is this West Henrietta Road or?
Yeah, it's the Horizon Group. It's the cobblestone that's like my cobblestone.
Yeah, okay.
And it's
Because
the
it doesn't
green-
say which.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Right.
sorry.
I'm-
Okay.
I apologize.
That's okay. West Henrietta. So it's 5537, 5582. It's the Horizon Group. They have the cobblestone
And the
on the one
greenhouse.
side, and they have the green painted house on the other side. So I just wanted to make that more clear. Anita,
Yes.
you want to bring up your ideas regarding a formation of a partnership with the Historical Society?
Sure. I just want to say that back in October, I had a conversation with a friend who is a member of the Ontario Historical Society. She lives in Canandaigua, and she's working on a research project. And so she started to explain to me that they do property searches or research, and they use directories and tax records, etc. Then once they find out, the people that have owned the properties, these are historic properties or in the town and city of Canandaigua or Ontario County. She's mainly been working with those in Canandaigua. They do a Google Scholar search or use library databases and call up as much information as they can, and then they end up writing narratives of the information from their research. And they do this because they get requests from the folks who live in historic properties, or people who maybe they're not always on the historic records, but they know that that property does have some kind of relationship to historic people or significance. And so they then end up creating what she told me is like a binder that they then are able to present to the property owner. Sometimes these requests come from the property owner, and other times they come from a friend or a family member who wants to give this kind of information as a gift to the owner of this historic property. And so when she was telling me about the research that she was doing, it started me thinking about the information that we have from the 1988, what is it called? The historic survey that came from West Henrietta Properties. And I was like, not all of the properties have the historic information and like genealogy that goes with it. And when Kitty and Joe and I were out taking the inventories and photographs, and often when we got to meet with the property owners, they had a big interest in knowing more about their properties. And so I started to wonder if we could combine our project with the manpower of the Henrietta Historical Henrietta Historical Society, and see if those members may be interested in doing some of that research for us to, number one, help them during the time of COVID to, fill in the void and the boredom that many of us, feel, as well as the Ontario County Historic Society brings in revenue from giving, well, I think maybe, their charges are like maybe $30 an hour or whatever, but that's just their charges. But the Henrietta Historical Society could generate some revenue from being able to put together something that's very similar to what the Ontario Society is doing. So I thought that perhaps we could partner with them. They could help us in filling in the gaps of the information that we don't have within that West Henrietta hamlet, and then possibly moving on then into the East Henrietta district, and helping them in a number of ways. So it just kind of triggered a possibility for this partnership that we could have, and perhaps even helping them to generate some revenue that I'm sure, as all societies are always looking for ways in which to gain some more money into their accounts. So that's what I was thinking about. I also thought that if this was something we were interested in, we could go and visit the Ontario Historic Society, see their research and the presentation binder that they present to these families who request it. And so anyhow, that was just a thought that I had, that perhaps we could both benefit from this collaboration. So I'm just throwing it out there as what do you all think about that? And I know that Tina and Joe are extremely active in the Henrietta Historical Society. So what do y'all think about this? Or
I like it. I like it too. I think anytime you can get people active.
There's a lot of historical houses in Henrietta that are looked over because, they're kind of hidden behind bushes and stuff like that. I've lived in the area for 60 some odd years now. And there's a property being sold left and right. And there's historic houses that are being threatened. And I think that's a good idea that you have, so they know what they have and maybe they will change their status. Put a plaque on the house.
Well, and that's another thing. People are so afraid to become designated because they think that the rules are so strict.
I know they do.
And binding, and the rules in Henrietta are so not like that.
Yeah. Well, if you could give the people something that says it's only the outside of the house we need. You don't have to change the inside of the house. The outside of the house has to stay that way, and anything built on there has to follow that status of the building, so it doesn't look like anything's been added. But on the inside, people don't know that. They ask me, well, what's it mean to have a historic house in Henrietta? And I tell them, we want what you've got outside, but the inside can be left the way you like it. And then they get a better understanding. But
And it's front view only.
Huh?
It's front view only, the view
Right.
from the street.
Well, it's if you add an addition to the back, it's got to have the same status as the front of the house. It's got to have that same, even if it's wooden on a brick building, it's still got to have the windows shape of it.
Style.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
So my question then is, Joe and Tina, do you think that the Historical Society the members would want to volunteer to do some of that work that would, go hand in hand with what we would need, as well as, giving them some interesting work to do, and like I said, filling in some of this time during these winter months. And again, depending on whether or not, the society wants to generate revenue, or just do it because they're history buffs and really would like to have something to show for their interest.
We can certainly communicate with the members of the Historical Society through email to see if anyone would be interested in doing historic property research. However, I think there would probably need to be some kind of a training session so that people would know where the resources are located, because just thinking about the membership, I don't really know of too many of them who would know where to look to find accurate information about these properties. In terms of charging money, I don't think that can happen right away. I think it would depend on whether or not someone expressed an interest in having research done. And if someone was competent at doing that, then it might be okay for them to charge, an hourly fee for the work that they do. I know that people do charge for research when they have to go down to the county clerk's office and do a title search. But of course, going to the county clerk's office right now and doing a title search is not something that people can do. And for a lot of these properties, that's how they're going to find out most of the information, because not everything is available online. It's certainly worth sending out an email and seeing what kind of a response we get.
And I'm wondering if maybe either, a few of us from the Historic Site Committee and maybe a few people from the Historic Society,
mm-hmm.
we could set up an appointment to go and visit Ontario County's society, see what they do, find out the ways in which they do some of their research. Maybe they'd even be willing to put on some type of a workshop for us via Zoom,
right?
And go with that. And maybe in the beginning, it's certainly not going to look as polished as it can over time, but it at least would be a start in the ways in which we could, work towards a perhaps a better product. And of course, it's going to help us in getting the information, but the way in which that would be presented to the, we certainly don't want any revenue from that, but, and maybe the Historical Society doesn't want anything either, or maybe it would be a very, nominal amount of money or fee that they would ask, and certainly not perhaps at the rate of $30 an hour, because we're still just learning the ropes of the way in which to use various search engines to come up with a product and then write the narrative.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Can I also ask the Antoinette Brown Blackwell Society. Would any of those members maybe not be crossed over with the Historical Society? And might they be reached out to?
I can certainly do that.
It would be kind of nice if we all kind of worked together.
Okay, I can, let me put something together and send it out to people and see what you think. And we can do an email to the two other organizations and see what kind of a response we get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Anita, I think that's a great idea.
Could we do that as an email from the committee? Henrietta Historic Site Committee is looking for some volunteers to help us do, and then you come up with all the verbiage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gary and Tina, would the work that the volunteers do, would that be helpful for these properties that we do not have that sort of information on?
It would be helpful as long as it's accurate. Okay, that's the key.
Right, so
we
would potentially have to be double checking some stuff.
Okay.
To back it up.
And maybe there would be a few of us here on the Historic Site Committee that would be, willing to take a look at the, and doing that kind of, double checking. The checking of that, because we certainly would ask and require of them to put down, their sources of where they found that information. Okay.
I for one, my cobblestone at 4495 West Henrietta Road, when I was asked to protect it, Gary Goodridge did a ton of digging, and he literally found out a lot of the information that I was told was truthful, and I was repeating it to everybody, was not accurate. So there's a lot of stories that are passed down from generation to generation to generation, and it kind of gets muddled. So I do think that you're absolutely right. I mean, we're going to have some of the houses that we think we have information on, that as we're going through it, we're going to find out that some of what we think is accurate is not accurate.
Personally, I think this is a very good idea. Joe's an officer of the Historical Society. Yeah. So I'm thinking that we send a letter, which Tina will help put together, but from the committee to these other groups. And if we get a positive response, we'll figure out exactly how we're going to utilize their services.
Sure.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Thank you, Tina.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you, Anita. It was a very good idea.
Excellent.
All right. I'm just thankful I have friends in different communities that that do this good work. Yeah.
It's not what you do, it's what you know, who you know.
Okay, let's go on to number 4 under new business, discussion of proposed distribution center on West Henrietta Road and request from Supervisor Schultz for recommendations for the setback from the right-of-way for the proposed West Henrietta Historic District. Gary, would you like to handle this one?
Basically what's happening is there's been a proposed project put forth for we haven't seen the exact plans as yet, but it seems to be a very large building, which is proposed to be a distribution center at the corner of West Henrietta Road and Erie Station Road, on a small chunk of the current Delphi property. It would be to the southwest of the current Delphi building. This property is not historically designated. As such, we really don't have a say for what happens on that property other than it is surrounded by presently designated historic sites that are designated by the town of Henrietta. And It's in a corner of what we're proposing for our new West Henrietta Historic District, which we've talked about a lot in the past, and we've all voted on the boundaries for that. Michelle has plans of the potential possible site plan.
Michelle, do
So-
you have the new one? You
Yes.
don't- Okay, good.
Do you?
We'll pass it around. Wait, Kitty, I think I gave you the
Well,
wrong
there
one.
was two.
And it's actually up on the board. Thank you, Becky. She has the new one
Okay,
up on the
good.
board, so you guys can see it.
Here, that's the old one.
The impact from our point of view as the Historic Site Committee is actually point of view from the streets surrounding our proposed district. I don't have the numbers in front of me, I don't believe, maybe I do.
Are you talking about the number of sites and stuff here? Here, this?
No, not that. Okay, so we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 sites in the West Henrietta Village area that are currently Henrietta Historic designated sites. And there's 1, 2,
You've got 4 on the West Henrietta Road and 4 properties on Erie Station Road
Yeah, that's
in close proximity.
and there's like 15 properties that are on our proposed list. New York State has sent us a list of 25 properties that they feel can be historically designated in the West Village area. We received that information a year ago, this coming February, when Dollar General was doing their proposed project. So from our point of perspective, it would be this very large building would block the view. Thank you, Becky. She's zooming it in for us, of the present view from the historic village. The concern also for us would be the increased traffic flow and noise that would be generated.
And
Until-
the impact on our structures.
Well, the impact on our historic village is our main concern. Until we have an official, actual site plan of what they're planning to do, it makes it difficult for us. But basically, this is a discussion. If this project was to move forward, we will obviously be making recommendation to the town board on how we feel as a committee. Since this project came up at the public hearing last week, I've been contacted, Michelle's been contacted. I don't know about Joe, he lives in the village, but by people who live surrounding this potential project, there's a lot of very unhappy people about this project, including one who's here tonight. So it was decided we should probably discuss this and see how the committee was feeling about this potential impact on the historic district in West Village.
I would like to say when they were putting up that building, the first time around, there was a lot of controversy on that building going up. From what-
The Delphi building
Yeah,
in
the Delphi
1987?
building, yeah. And it was okay because they pushed it way back near the thruway. They left all
pushed it
that.
down over the hill.
Yeah, right. And it was supposed to be, nice rolly hills and everything because the town was historic.
Green space.
Yeah, green space. And I oppose it. I think they could come up with a better design that goes towards the thruway if they're going to put something up.
Do we have any other comments?
Gary, is this building going to be like approximately like 9 stories high?
No,
No, Lisa, can you comment on this?
It's a single story building. It's going to be a single story building. You're still going to see it. So, and I know in looking at your notes here, Mark Congdon, he actually came to our meeting
Lisa, I'm confused. We've been told it's 50-foot tall.
Yeah, that's what it says here.
What did you say?
It's 50-foot tall.
We were told that the new proposed site plan was going to include a
Oh.
50-foot tall building.
50 foot tall, taller, the old one was 45 feet.
Originally, it was
They
40.
increased it to 50.
Right.
Originally, they went 40.
Correct.
They allowed
You're
45, and now it's 50. That is a massive
It's a
building.
big building.
If you go to, I don't mean to interrupt you, but if you go down and you look at Cooper Vision, that building is massive, and that's 40 foot high.
Okay.
And that building isn't as large as the proposed building. At least that's from what we were told. But until we see the actual site plans, we won't know exactly what it is they want to do. We're
I'm
just
sorry
here
to
to
interrupt.
say, okay, we're having a little discussion about, there's a project proposed in this corner so that we can get together on how we might feel about a project there and some thoughts based on it.
So this is Michael Troji, and I'm with Konar Properties. Just to correct you, Cooper Vision is only 35 foot tall.
Okay.
And so it's only 5 feet, but just to give you that sign. And the area of Cooper Vision is larger and it's longer. This is more of a square. But so just to give you a proportion size, it'll be taller, more of a cube. And that's all I have to say about that. I just wanted to correct you guys so you understood it properly.
So that's well above 20% higher. Surface space.
Then the Cooper Vision building.
Right.
If in fact it does turn out to be 50 foot. Now, that would be a special permit hearing that would have to take place to allow them to go above the 45 foot currently zoned in a commercial property. I don't know if that's actually been applied for or not. Do you, Lisa?
At this point, we don't have anything permanent. I mean, we didn't even see the new plans until the work or the board meeting that we had on Wednesday. We still in our packet had the older plans, so we don't have anything definitive.
Okay.
And we left it open. We didn't close the meeting. We left the meeting open because we understand that there's no specifics yet.
Right.
Yeah, they gave it to us at the meeting. At the meeting, we got it. But you know, and I totally understand what people are saying because I grew up in Henrietta. I mean, you know, I drive by that corner and look at it, and as you said, we've got a homeowner sitting back here right now that has that big, huge section off to the side of it. And we had Mark Congdon was there talking about it, and Mr. Konar was there talking about, you know, the perspective of what he built across the street and trying to keep the historical look of the hamlet there. So I think there's a lot more discussions that have to happen with this.
I would be in total agreement with that statement.
I think the thing that they were looking for from you on a perspective was because Mark Congdon was there talking about where they're going to cut across his house, because his house is over there, is basically it's going to be right there on his lot line. And so his concern was, you know, how are you going to, can we change this? And Steve was saying, okay, well, you can't, this land is set up to be handled in a certain way. We may not be able to stop everything because there's legalities involved, but we wanted the recommendation from you, how far you think we need to push them back so that they're not right on these lots, so that it doesn't have a negative, it's going to have a negative impact regardless, I believe, but so that it doesn't have a total negative impact on it, and how much land you want between the areas to
Right.
push back. So we had a better idea of what to go back to them about. And I think that was really what the big discussion was, how much land should we leave between and what we need to do. And the planning board's going to come up with all of the buffering and, you know, make all of the decisions on it. We just had a public hearing to discuss it. But he had said at the public hearing, he was going to turn it over to you to give an idea
Right. Yeah.
of the area.
Other towns in the state, they have different setbacks for historical
Right.
sites than they do for a normal residential housing.
Right.
And Steve has approached us asking what we were thinking. Like Tina had sent me an email earlier today, and correct me if I'm mistaken, but Brighton has a 250 foot setback, Tina?
That's correct, but there's also some caveats with that in terms of the fact that the owner of the property has to has to own that land when they make that 250-foot setback, and they don't have that for all the properties.
Right, and they have to maintain it.
And well, the word that she used was own.
Really?
So if they own it, yeah, I think that was in the email.
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me, so that would mean their parcel lot lines would actually change. As far as the setback here is concerned, it's going to be very difficult. We can do a general, but we don't have the actual site plan. The town board doesn't have the actual site plans. So until we know where they're actually going to put the parking lots and the buildings and the berms, which I know are supposed to come up at the next town board meeting, I believe.
Yes.
Is that, yes, okay.
What's the date of that meeting, Lisa?
Well, it's going to be in January. Our next town board meeting is actually our organizational meeting, which is the end of the month. And I don't have the date in front of me of the next one. I mean, I'm just trying to go.
We think they're coming back, maybe, if everything goes according to plan, on January 27th.
Okay, yeah, I think that's what I remember you telling me, Becky.
I guess what I'm not understanding is, why do we have to have a parking lot behind the building? Why would the parking lots not be closer to the hamlet and move that building all the way back? And I did drive by. I went up the road today, the driveway, to see. And then I did a turnaround with where the big parking lot was. There's quite a bit of land there. And I don't understand why this building can't be built into the side of the hill, so that you would then be able to put a smaller berm in front of it, because you're never putting a big berm in front of that monstrosity. But why they can't cut into the hill, put the building lower, move the building back, and we could even maybe get the town to waive some of those easements that they did where the golf course and the condos or the houses or whatever it was over there. But I'm looking at this and saying, why do we have parking lot behind the building when we're trying to protect the houses in front of the building?
This is Michael Trojan. And I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, but that parking lot with a little bulb at the bottom is a truck court where all the big semis are going to be parking and backing into the building.
Michael, this just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, those are all trucks, and then there's about 40 trailers going to be stored, and then 40 trucks along the side of the building. That would be the northeast side of the building. That's all I have to say.
And we appreciate
my question.
Michael.
Yeah, this is Anita. My question is this an Amazon distribution center?
No.
No.
It came up at the last town board meeting that this property was bought by RGH.
It was closed on on the 16th of last month, or right about then.
Yeah, RGH has the Delphi building, but they don't have this.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're confused then, because on this map it says proposed lot, that they had the separation has not gone through yet.
So the new building, proposed building, the Delphi building is RGH.
Right.
And FSI owns the property. The proposed building, the reason they were going from 40 to 50 feet is because they're talking about having
refrigeration,
thank you.
Right.
So that they need the bigger building in order to or the height in order to accommodate the refrigeration.
Right.
And the current buffer is 100 feet from residential property. If it's a historical property, it could be 150 feet. So that's what we talked about at the meeting. But it does say there's 28 dock spaces, and the parking, they were saying they were not going to need as much parking as they originally anticipated, that they were going to probably land bank quite a bit of the parking.
And Lisa, can I ask how many jobs this distribution center is bringing to our area?
I'm pretty neurotic with notes, but I don't see that in my notes. I do apologize. Yeah, I don't see that in my notes.
Okay.
Michael,
I will make a notation of that and let you know.
Thank you.
this is Michael Trojan again. I remember you guys have mentioned it, but the Rochester Regional Health is going to be occupying that building, and they're going to be bringing in a lot of employees. So when you're speaking of it, this whole lot is being really redeveloped because the Delphi building has been so quiet and vacant for so long. Now within, I don't know, 18 months, you're going to have an office building that's full, and then this distribution center. Keep that in mind when you guys are doing your discussions. Thank you.
The other thing too is I literally have been told by a couple of people that these lots have not totally been broken out. Can we find out exactly if they are now 3 separate lots? Because I've been told by a couple of different people that they're proposed to be separated, but they're not actually all the way through the process of being separated.
Right. We've been told they're not subdivided yet, but we haven't been able to find out for a fact.
The lots have not been
Right.
subdivided.
That large lot had not been subdivided.
Proposed lots. Well, I think the issue still with proposed is that we don't have, you know,
So what is being housed in the Delphi building?
Rochester Regional Health's back of office staff. It'll be offices for Rochester Regional Health, and they're going to fill it, I would imagine.
And then also the distribution center is for Rochester Regional Health.
No, we don't know that.
That's not a fact yet, we've been told.
They could use portions of it, but it's not.
yeah, we were not told. We were told that we don't know who it's going to be
Right, we
for.
don't know exactly.
Right.
We were not disclosed anybody in particular, but that it would require refrigeration, and that's why it's gone. So they needed 50 foot.
Can I bring up something? When the Delphi was built, they built a berm because they were going to be working on motors and stuff like that, which have potential, explosions. That's why they burnt. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not using that anymore, that building could be pushed back, like Tina, Michelle mentioned.
Well, I think that's what we as a board are trying to find out from you.
Okay.
Is what would work best to maintain the integrity of the hamlet. And that was one of the things that Steve had said as well, is could you push the building further back?
And down.
Well, kind of more into the hill, yeah.
Yeah, build
so
it
that
down.
it's not so prevalent.
Back it right into the hill.
Right.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
then how can we set up berms around it, and how can we set up trees, and so that we can aesthetically, not take away from what's there, and for the people with historical homes. And so I think that's really where he's looking for some insight from you, is what would your ideas be? Because none of this is all just proposed.
Right.
So our thought process as well, they were working on what they truly wanted to do. If we could give them insight ahead of time, it would save some going back and forth at the beginning.
Put it over on lot number 3.
Where's lot number 3?
You'd have to get you can't see it on this.
Oh, okay.
It's on the other side of the building.
Yeah.
It's on the other side of.
Becky, can you zoom out? Yeah.
It's on the east side.
See it over there?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you, Beck.
I just feel like it's encroachment.
Kind of like
because there's no one there.
It's kind of like trying to figure out how to camouflage a white elephant.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm a little bit worried about the noise from the elephant here.
Especially since we don't know the actual site plan yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But the main issue we have would be the setbacks, as Lisa was talking about, because that is something we can make recommendations on. The actual property is not historic, so we don't really have a lot to say other than our opinions, which we can make an opinion as a committee. You know, as a committee, we'd like it where you couldn't see it from the village. Is that something that they can do? I don't know. I'm not an engineer. They could probably carve that hill out more, maybe flip the building where the parking lot's on the other side of it and the building's up into the hill more. That would be something for probably the planning board or Steve to discuss. I'm not sure. I'd like to see the other side of the building, but that's me. That's not this committee.
Yeah. But if that's not a parking lot, that is a place where the 18-wheelers are pulling in. Think about the noise. Think about the noise quality of all of that in the backyards and, you know, all that property. I mean, the historic site.
Anita, can you repeat?
If that, what we're calling a parking lot is really where the semis will be pulling in to drop things off and pick things up. And if you flip it and put it right in the backyard of all the houses and the properties, think about the noise and even what that's going to look like. I just don't see it as being anything pleasant to you know, have purchased property and to have been there for as long as you have and have taken care of the properties that are along that West Henrietta Road corridor, and just think about what that's all going to look like in the background of the Baptist church. I mean, it's
believe me, we're hearing from a lot of residents on that exact thing.
Yeah, this is it's
Mark County literally took a carriage house that was falling apart and renovated it and had furniture built specifically for the carriage house, and he spent over $110,000. And now this is going to be butting up against the back of it. I just don't see, I know fairness isn't, you know, what we're here to say or do, but me.
Well, they're building on the old Balshall. Is it Bal? No, it's not Balshall. It's on West Henrietta Road going towards Rush. There's a lot of buildings going there now, big ones.
Farther south.
Yeah.
But I have a question as far as obviously not knowing exactly what's going to be going in here, but would any of those, we'll say, semis be cutting through any residential area, like directly?
Well, the question has been brought forth, and I know it was in the town board meeting, that they're assuming the traffic coming out of that exit will all head north to get up to the expressway and over to the thruway. There is a road that comes out on the south side of that to Erie Station Road. Some would potentially come out that way. Can't really say whether or not. My feeling personally is that it will increase traffic flow in that intersection, which is already a very hazardous intersection because of the way it's set up. The people that I've spoken to from the area, including the gentleman sitting in the back of the room, are all of the opinion that this increase in traffic will be going through the village. Can we say for a fact? No. I know that they were potentially doing a traffic study, but doing a traffic study during COVID, when many people are home and not going to work other than virtually, really isn't a good number. And until things change where we can actually get a better traffic flow, a traffic study, I know they can do the statistics, but just doesn't make sense.
I would just have several concerns. Aside from obviously the aesthetic, I would just be concerned with the traffic as far as which way it's going to flow in and out of there. concern for any potential children living in that area, concern as far as noise and volume of the semis going in and out, as far as what times during the day or night that traffic would be happening.
Right, and I have not been told as yet. Do you know, Lisa?
I knew you were going to
I
ask
think
me
they
that.
mentioned
Yes, I was going to ask you that.
I'm looking at my notes.
We've heard a couple different things, that it was going to be 24/7. Some others had been shorter time periods. Do we know?
I think they mentioned 5 to 7 at the meeting.
5 in the morning to 7 at night. I think
Yeah.
you're correct.
Yeah, but then it was also brought up, it's something else where they thought it might be more than that.
Well, but the other thing that was also brought up is that that's something that we can put a restriction on.
Right, as a town board, you can,
Right, that's something that we can say to them, well, you know, this is fine, but 5 to 7 is the hours that you're allowed to do that.
right.
Can we also put a restriction that they don't turn left to get on 390 down in Rush? And all those trucks are going to be going right through that small four corners? Because I don't believe we can put that restriction on them.
I don't believe that you can, but I do understand what you're saying because, you know, being a Henrietta person, that's what I would do. You know?
That intersection is extremely dangerous.
Yes, it is very busy. It's very busy
And you've got the
there.
pizza corner right on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think their thought process is if you come out of in either direction, they're thinking you're not going to go into that, you know, the corner of the hamlet there where the church is and, you know, where Pizza Corner is and all of that, that you're going to either come out of the parking onto Erie Station Road and head that direction, or you're going to come out on West Henrietta Road. So you're going to stay away from that corner. But I honestly didn't think about what you're saying is, I mean, you shoot straight down West Henrietta and jump on the expressway and rush.
Right.
To be
You're
frank,
heading, you know,
I get on the expressway when I'm going home. If I'm not leaving for my cobblestone, I pass Lehigh Station, I get off at Rush and I double back. Because the difference in traffic, fighting all those lights, you're going to be fighting the UPS trucks. When those UPS trucks unload, they are bumper to bumper, so you can't even get in.
yep.
And now, so you've got UPS unloading, and now we're going to have tractor trailers unloading. There's no way a tractor trailer operator is not going to go left if he has to go down to the southern tier.
To go the, except that he does have to cross over to head that direction. So it's not such an easy turn.
Well, yes, but Steve also mentioned that,
Possibility of a light.
yes, that they were going to try to make it where there would be a light put in there.
I appreciate you guys thinking of the traffic, but consider the incoming traffic is harder to control than the outgoing traffic. So trucks are coming and they could be coming from the airport. At Corner Properties, we experienced trucks coming off of East River Road, going into Cooper Vision, FedEx. So again, you can say, don't turn left, don't do that. But when they're coming in, there's half the trucks are coming in, half are going out, right? So just consider that in your guys' discussions.
That's a good consideration because East River Road already is very dangerous. And, you know, let's face it, truck drivers get paid to be on time, deliver their load, and they're going to take the path of least resistance. You're going to have a lot of them coming down.
And if they come down Erie Station Road, they'll be going right by the Berger Junior High.
Yes.
Right by the school. And a lot of the kids in the tracks there walk to school.
All right.
So I think if you come down, you're going to have a tendency to come through I don't think you're going to go.
Up by Cooper Vision up
You'll
to
come out
there.
by Cooper Vision.
Probably, yes.
Because most people won't make that turn. They'll come straight through where the industry is right now. But I never even thought about the possibility of them coming in the back way, you know, and not coming
Right.
from the expressway and getting off. And
I have semis coming down Brooks Road, which is a county road. They don't belong there, but they're still there.
Well, this has been a good discussion unless somebody else wants to bring anything else up. At this point in time until January 27th, I think Becky said.
Could I,
And they
it's
come
my,
forth, I'm hoping that we get the site plans prior to that town board meeting,
Hey,
unlike
Gary?
the last time.
it's Michael Trojan. I'd just like to focus your attention on one thing that's between the truck court and Delphi. It looks like a dark line that looks like an upside down hockey stick, if you will. And maybe someone could zoom into that. I believe that might be a retaining wall. I can't quite tell, but there could be a large, and you can see a little note at the top of that. You see what I'm talking about of the hockey stick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you zoom on that more, Becky, or not?
What's that note say at the top? To
Can
me,
you read it from your screen, Becky?
It does say proposed retaining wall.
so just think about that. I don't know the height, I don't know the visibility, but it's something that I believe your committee should understand that it's shown on the site plan. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, we really need to see the actual site plans, as does the board and other committees.
And okay, so the footprint is 200,000. So that means we're going to have how many floors? Do we know? This could be a 1 million square foot building. That's a footprint.
If it's 50 foot tall, then yeah, that would be pushing 1 million square feet.
They said at the meeting it was a warehouse that had needed 50-foot clearance for the racking system. So it's it would be 200,000 square feet, and it'd be 50-foot tall is what they said in the meeting.
Right.
So Lisa, that's probably why you're saying it's a one-story
One-story.
building. It's just a really, really, really tall
Right,
one-story building.
right. And again, we were told the reason they had to make the change in the ceiling height was because of the refrigeration system.
Right. And I am a little concerned about where the watershed is, because it's already getting watered down to both the houses on Erie Station and West Henrietta Road at that corner from the hill. There's already a water issue behind Michael's house. He has a pond behind his house that's going to be impacted by this. And I know Mark made the comment at the town board meeting that you were at, that he had to do quite a bit of additions along his back lot line because of all the water that came down that hill. And now you're going to put a big pond there.
Yeah, they've actually shown 2 ponds.
Right. Yeah, on both edges of his property, when you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the planning board, I believe, would be taking care of that issue, but because they look at that kind of thing. But it also concerns me having water flowing into historic houses. Okay.
Yeah, no, Kitty was asking me some questions.
Okay.
Because this is the first she's seeing of this and hearing of this.
Right.
So.
And can I ask a question of Michael? What would that retaining wall be used? What would its purpose be?
Not you, Michael, the other Michael.
I'm Michael Trojan, from, again, Konar Properties. Being a civil engineer and having designed several site plans, that building, that whole area pretty much needs to be a flat surface. And so because of the change in the grade, they're putting that retaining wall in so they don't have to take the hill out, which would be behind the retaining wall and in front of Delphi. They don't have to flatten that area out.
Okay.
It's just to make the land flat.
Got it. Thank you.
So that's where they're carving a bit into the present hill, correct, Michael?
That's my assumption by looking at the site plan, yes. And just, I'm looking at exactly what you guys are looking at. I haven't seen anything more.
Right.
Michael, would they be able to carve deeper to put this building lower?
You can always dig down and you have to remove the soil and bring it somewhere. But to dig down 50 feet and get the grade to work in order, not 50 feet, but 20 feet to hide it behind the buildings, there'd be a lot of engineering work to do that. And I would guess that it would be cost prohibitive.
Is it possible for this building to go on proposed lot 2 by your estimations? So it's closer to the thruway and farther away from us?
Well, my quick gut says it would not because of the shape. Now, if the shape can alter, and that depends on what they're doing inside the building. They've changed it from a large rectangle to a squarish.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, I don't just, if you just were to cut and paste, from kindergarten, it doesn't look like it would fit in there. But it may. My gut would say no, but my gut would say it wouldn't fit. Definitely not in that size. And if you changed it to longer and narrower, maybe, but I don't think so.
Okay, I'm sorry. So did you want to come up and talk? Your name?
You got to come up. Sorry.
Tyler Keller, 1063 Erie Station Road. And just, if those lots aren't approved yet, they're just proposed. Just really just speaking semi-flippantly, if they really wanted to get this done, there's the reason they couldn't move the parking lot from the current Delphi space over around, reshape that lot, and then move this building up into that wedge into the corner. That's
just a thought.
Just
right.
thought.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael, did you want to talk? You have to come up to the mic and introduce yourself. Give your address.
Yeah, hi, Michael Heading, 5628 West Henrietta Road. My property is probably the longest property there that is on West Henrietta Road. It's about 2 acres. It's a very unique property. No one else in the area has that much property. That's what prompted my wife and I to want to buy it over 20 years ago. I too have sunk over $200,000 into my house and barns and outbuildings and stuff. So we were also under the interpretation that back in the 80s when they built the Delphi building, they did so for a reason like that by putting it on the other side. And I'm sure there was plenty of opposition in town and why they wanted to have it on the other side of the hill. So we were led to believe that was the town's intent and it would always be the town's intent.
Right.
Since then, somebody's decided they want to capitalize on every square inch of Henrietta, and they tried to subdivide it. Now, there was a land use proposal, I don't know, back in 2008, 9, 10, somewhere around there, where everyone in town was surveyed. And their biggest thing was open space, preservation of land, everything south of the thruway. This is south of the thruway.
Right.
So why is it being considered now?
Yeah, that was the comprehensive use plan.
Right. So if that's the comprehensive use plan and everyone in town was already surveyed about it, why are we even talking about this?
Michael, were you in Henrietta when they built the Delphi?
No, we bought our house in 98.
Because I was,
Mhm.
and I was told that they had to secure a certain amount of green space for every square foot of the footprint of that building.
Okay.
And it was supposed to stay green.
Right. So what happened to that edict?
And even if it was a gentleman's agreement,
Mhm.
so what good are gentlemen's agreements if,
Right. I mean, minutes are kept, right, for history's sake. Couldn't we go back to the minutes from
You're
those?
talking 1985 to 1987 when the building was built. It would take some.
Right. But I'm just saying, I mean, if we go back to
your
that,
public record?
precedent has been set.
Potentially, if that's a correct statement.
Right.
Yes.
And like I said, the comprehensive use plan, town was surveyed. People were already asked what they wanted and what they didn't want. And this is not just people in our neighborhood. This is people in the entire town.
Right. I've asked several people if they remember that,
Right.
and everybody I ask says yes.
Yeah. And I mean, that was a big selling point because we actually were going to purchase the house across the street, the mustard yellow historic house. We didn't like it, but the outside had character, but the inside was kind of muddled. But we saw the farmland behind and we realized at some point somebody's going to develop that, and that's okay. We've looked at the other house and they told us they're probably never going to be able to develop that because they put the Delphi building there and they told them they had to keep this between them and the Delphi building. So we bought it, and then we raised our family there and we put our money into the house, and
Soon to be on the national
soon to
register.
be on the state and national registry come March.
Right.
But it's already part of the historic district, and we've been so since, I think, 2003, when we were approached by Helen Elam. And we jumped right in. We said we wanted it, you know, just as much as the town wanted it. And to speak about the trucks and everything going by, my front porch, I measured, is 30 feet to the edge of the road. Now, my front porch is historic, and we're restoring all the rails right now. We're in the process of painting the whole house right now. But when the trucks go by, my living room windows rattle. And that's when they're going by slow. But nobody goes the speed limit there. And like you said, when I want to go south, I turn left and I go down to Rush. Why would I want to go to Lehigh Station, where I'm going to get stuck in a 6-light traffic jam? It boggles the mind what's going to happen there.
It's not just that corner either. And I know this is not supposed to be something it's not our whatever, but think about when those UPS trucks unload.
Oh, I've been stuck behind them, yeah, I know.
There are so many accidents at Lehigh Station and West Henrietta Road and over by the expressway entrance. And now we're going to be adding more. When this came across my desk, I was blown away that it was absolutely being discussed.
And Michelle, the same thing you're saying. When I'm coming home from the south, I get off at the Rush exit and come up West Henrietta Road heading north.
And you're further north than I am.
That's what they're all going to do. They're going to all do that because 99% of people nowadays use GPS, and the GPS is going to take you the straightest, fastest way. And they're going to follow that GPS, and a lot of times trucks get lost. They turn around in the church parking lot right behind my house. I see full semis pull in there and jackknife and turn around.
At the Baptist church.
Yeah, and they're not supposed to be in, and there's all kinds of signs warning them, but I see probably one a week do that.
Start taking out license plates.
Yeah.
No, good point you brought that up.
It's
Most
people don't follow the rules.
Yeah.
Even if you tell them to, they're not going to. So why give them the chance to even? I know that they have to follow laws, and there's only so much you can tell a person to do with their property. I'm also in the building business and a developer, but I've had to follow the rules, and the town has made me do a lot of things in the project that I'm proposing on Rush Henrietta Town Line Road, which is cost prohibitive to me, but I'm doing it because that's the law, that's the rules. It was told by the Land Use Act that how I had to design my subdivision. So now the land use comprehensive plan doesn't apply to them.
That's a very good point.
I think we need to do some research, and I plan on doing a lot of research as to what transpired back in 86 or whatever when they built the Delphi building.
1987 is when they opened.
Right, and what notes and what proposals were taken by the town board, and what caused it to be designed the way it was designed. That property was subdivided for a reason. And they tried to put the Veterans Hospital there first. The one that's on Calkins now.
We're also missing the fact that how many parking spaces are there, Lisa?
There's less now. The first proposal was a lot more.
Vehicle spaces are 496, 28 dock spaces, and 27 trailer spaces.
But it doesn't do it justice to how close that is going to be. And the other gentleman who was on Zoom is correct. That is going to be leveled flat, and that retaining wall is to hold back. There's a substantial elevation change there, and probably over 50 feet. But the 50 feet is going to be shown on the West Henrietta Road side, and it's going to be hidden from Delphi. It should be the other way around.
Exactly. And Mark Congdon had called me to put forward some of his concerns, and he told me that he measured from the back corner of his property to that parking lot, and it's like 80 feet.
Yeah. And the berm, he said the dirt would have been like right on top of his last tree.
Right.
And he already has water problems from this development.
I did the same thing. I called the town, the drainage division or whatever, and said, what can I do about this? What can I do about this? I think I dug the pond first, then they did the work on Erie Station Road where they put in curbs. I was taking all the water from Erie Station Road and all the water from Delphi, and it was all ending up in my backyard, and it couldn't get out to the road. So I dug a pond. Since they did the work on Erie Station Road, now they've negatively affected my pond. It doesn't have as much water in it. So now I've gone to the expense of digging a pond that's kind of drying up. And then if they do this, it'll dry up completely, and then I'll have the cost of filling it back in.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Thank you
I
for
can
your
be
time.
reached at any time if anyone needs. I've done a substantial amount of research for the area, and I have a very good knowledge of construction and development and all that. So if I can be of any help to you guys.
I'm with you.
Yeah, if I can grab your phone number before you head out, I would love that. You had another point, sir?
Want to make one more comment.
Again, you have to put your name up.
Tyler Keller, 1063 Erie Station Road. It's all well and good that they are going to spend the money to do that kind of cut into the hill. But I mean, if they're talking about cutting that much of the soil out, has geology been done yet? Do we know what bedrock is there? Because let's just say, hypothetically, they take out 30 feet of soil. Well, they probably can get bedrock before they get down low enough. So the vibration of how they take that out, whatever method they use, is going to do all kinds of damage to the surrounding areas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anita, do you have any more input?
Yes.
Any more input?
No, I think that's it for the night.
Tina, any input?
Hang on, I had to unmute. No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Ray?
My only input would be I'd like to find the minutes for that, like 85 to 87, anywhere that covers what might have been an agreement or not.
I'd like to see the Conservation Board's notes, minutes. Michael Trojan, any other comments?
No, and I appreciate the committee allowing me to be part of this, and I hope I wasn't interrupting too often, but it's hard in this Zoom meeting. So thank you all for letting me attend the meeting today.
You're welcome anytime, since you seem to know more than what we're being told. So that's excellent. Thank you very much. So the last point we have is just our proposed meeting schedule for 2021. So January 19th, February 16th, March 16th, April 20th, May 18th, June 15th. Why do we have summer meetings?
Because last summer we didn't schedule any and we ended up meeting.
Okay.
So in this, if we don't end up needing them, we
can cancel the meeting if we don't have an agenda.
In prior years, we've always had summer meetings. It's only been the past few years we've not, because there wasn't anything going on in the summer. But it makes sense to have them and cancel.
Okay. July 20th, August 17th, September 21st, October 19th, November 16th, and December 21st. And again, the meetings start at 6:30. And last point is planning for organizational meeting on January 19th, 2021. Gary, you have anything for that?
Not at this point, because we chose not to do the vote for officers until Dave was back.
Okay.
Normally, we would vote and then it would be presented to the board for their okay.
Do we have any ETA on return?
Yes, Michelle, Dave is back in the country. He was home around Thanksgiving.
Oh, good.
Okay, so I think that...
Is he staying home? Is he done with his deployment?
I believe he is. So what needs to happen is that either the president or someone on the committee needs to contact people to, first of all, to see if they're willing to continue either as president or secretary. I think those are the two offices that we have.
Correct.
And then if they don't, then to see if there's someone else who would fill one or both of those positions.
And as I mentioned, I don't have a problem keeping my position as chair, but having to do like an agenda and stuff like that, I have to have someone do that for me. So Anita, would you be willing to help me with that? Anita's muted. Either that or she's pretending.
Unmute. Okay. No, I'd be happy. I'd be happy to do that with you, Michelle.
Oh, thank you, Anita. I thought you would say yes.
Yeah. It's Christmas, you know. There's your gift.
Thank you very much. It was the best gift ever. Okay, so I think with this, we're at a point that we can adjourn the meeting.
Yes, I motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Okay,
Everybody in favor?
meeting adjourned.
Aye.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Becky.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy holidays.